The first gaming-related article I ever wrote was a Bomb Man boss guide in 1998 for a fan site I created with a friend. That evolved into tips for every boss in the series. And slowly but surely, my collection of Mega Man games grew. Despite that ceaseless passion, Mega Man didn't grow with me. Capcom took several big risks throughout the little guy's 30-year history. Some paid off, some didn't, and a few contributed to killing off the franchise temporarily. Now it's time to finally look to the future for the first time in years, an easy prospect with Mega Man 11 on the horizon. We begin with a familiar scene, a bitter rivalry between the proud Dr. Light and the petulant Wily. It's reboot territory, folks, as we explore a bit of revisionist history in which Wily wakes up one day, in skull pajamas no less, years after being disgraced by his former colleagues and realizes, hey, one of my old inventions totally rocks, and I'm evil now. Generally, that'll do it. It's all necessary housekeeping, leaving all of the evil energy stuff in the dust, as well as the influence of series staples like Proto Man and Bass. This is a laser-focused Mega Man vs. Wily tale, a foundation on which to build in the future with no need for convoluted past inventions. If this level of restraint is what leads to a revival, then let's do it. So it turns out that Dr. Wily's big break, the Double Gear system, is really central to both the plot and the core mechanics of Mega Man 11. In essence, Mega Man now has two super abilities that are unlocked at the start, linked together with a limited meter. One gear powers up his shots, and the other slows time, or rather, allows Mega Man to move faster, making everyone appear slower. If you get really low on health, you can use a final stand type move to trigger both. Simple, right? On paper it is, sure, but Capcom managed to squeeze out every ounce of originality with two abilities that have extensively existed for decades, working them into the fabric of each stage. It also doubles as a built-in difficulty adjuster. If you dislike the idea of using extra powers and want to play 11 like an old-school retro platformer, you can just ignore Double Gear and the game is totally beatable without them. I'm already excited for no gear speedruns. You can also alter your playstyle with equipment. Mega Man's trusty handyman sidekick Otto is back, as are the various upgrades from later series entries that are up for purchase with in-game currency known as bolts. Again, it's all optional in a way to make the game easier or harder as you see fit. If you hate it, you can ignore it, and if you don't, eventually you'll start feeling powerful enough to get you over those humps, of which there will be many. I think a lot of hardcore fans are going to be pleasantly surprised at how often normal mode, one of the 4 difficulty settings, will kick their ass. Every locale has at least one hurdle to cross, whether it's a one-hit kill series of spites or a really tricky jump next to an insta-death pit. They're all puzzles to solve with the occasional option of arriving at multiple conclusions. Levels are well-oiled machines that are full of character that reflect a particular boss. Blast Man is a narcissist, so his level is full of self-iconography, and Bounce Man manages to strike a cute balance without getting creepy. Sorry, Clown Man. The devil is in the details, as visual cues on enemies help clearly indicate what's going on to help cut down on those aforementioned cheap deaths. A common franchise complaint for decades. Oh, and bosses talk!
You're just another brick in the wall!
One of the best features from Mega Man 8 and the X series returns, along with a well-tempered boss balance. All 8 main events are formidable in their own right, without getting too frustrating, and have some form of an ultimate move they use before death that ensures that you remember them. I also did the light homages to Mega Man 1, Electman and Fuseman, Iceman and Tundraman, Torchman and Fireman, and so on. It's noticeable without being cloyingly nostalgic. There's a good degree of variety in their weapon rewards too. You have the token Acid Shield, along with some decidedly X-tinted abilities like an Air Dash. 2 forms of item swapping, rolling an analog stick or using 2 triggers, made it easier to change strategies without having to resort to a pause menu. Another X innovation that made its way into the series proper eventually. Just don't expect a whole lot of surprises. There's 8 normal stages and 4 Wily levels in the main campaign, and 2 of the latter levels are truncated. Without giving too much away, it does lose a little steam toward the end. There's no elaborate double Wily fortress, just 4 zones, one of which is a boss gauntlet, and the last is a nominal area ending in a 3-phase Wily fight. No twists, no turns, or big cameos, just 12 levels. And that's fine. Given that most of them are in tip-top shape, they're a hell of a lot of fun to play over and over. Capcom also went a little bananas with the extras, which is far from a problem when the core is sound all on its own. All 9 modes are variations of challenges, tasking players with making less jumps, shooting well, and avoiding bad balloons, and a boss gauntlet, things of that nature. Dr. Light's Trial, unlocked after a clear, is the highlight. It's a 30-zone survival mode, a Devil's Palace / Dark Realm sort of joint, right up Capcom's alley. Having smashed up the leaderboards in Mega Man 9, I'm eager to get back at it with the basic time attack mode, even if most of the challenge modes don't excite me. How much Mega Man 11 is expected to reinvent the wheel is by nature subjective. Despite its preserved approach, it undeniably slots in very nicely with the classic series while bringing our old friend into a new era. The big finish could have been a little more mega, but it succeeds in pulling off the mountain of a task and getting people to care about Mega Man again. But for more written reviews, news, features, and more, be sure to head on over to Destructoid.com.